So why do guys act like they don't understand that drive decreases after the honeymoon stage? Obviously, things have changed sociologically quite a bit over the years. It used to be understood. I mean, if you Google Coolidge effect, there was, a joke between President Coolidge and his wife, beyond the scope of this, but about how men, want more novelty than what monogamy provides. If you speak to anybody in a previous generation, that used to be what was thought to be true, that men wanted more novelty than what monogamy could provide, and therefore they cheated, fairly frequently, on business trips and whatever, had mistresses. This is how things used to go, right? But now, cheating is looked down upon a lot. And many guys do not want to do that. Most guys, 80% of guys don't cheat, right? So, but somehow they still want to have the sex life that they would have with a new woman. They ignore that they certainly do not still feel the same massive drive that they used to in the earliest stages. Literally, refractory period with a new partner, which is what the Coolidge effect is lower than it is with the same old partner. And I mean, if you went back to the 50s, men would think that the men today are out of their minds, right? Acting like they don't understand that it's more exciting, that you have more drive with a new partner. Of course. The difference is that in the 50s, women weren't supposed to have a sex drive. Sex was an obligation. It was something that you do for the marriage. So it didn't really matter, like, is she into it? Is she not into it? It's nice if she's into it in a loving relationship, but, it's just kind of something that we do for the marriage for sure. Definitely part of the marital contract, And the other big change is that there was not the proliferation of internet porn. So guys didn't think that somehow there are these amateur, like hot wives that are doing all these things that their wife isn't doing. That would somehow, in their mind, keep them just as excited after the honeymoon stage as in the honeymoon stage. So they blame their natural boredom, which used to be like the subject of so many jokes. I mean, remember Married with Children? Remember Peggy wanted to do it, but Al didn't because he was bored. She was annoying. It was like monotonous. It was monogamy, right? But that didn't mean he didn't have a sex drive with other women. That used to be basically up through, it seems like pretty recently, past 20 years, it used to be understood that men definitely wanted to have like a hot new thing around, but if they were a good guy, then they stayed faithful. Since they didn't also bombard their senses with constant internet porn, that was okay. But the guys that I see now, they fluff themselves up with constant, viewing. And so their drive, given all of that, is artificially inflated. Frequently, they're also on testosterone, which artificially inflates them quite a bit, much above what the norm would be for the man of their age. We're not just talking about remediation, we're talking about optimization, which can like massively impact them, up to like a man half his age. And so then, of course, they still are bored because it's monogamy and everybody gets bored. So they try to do more and more stuff, with their wife, which is the only person they'll let themselves be with or even let themselves almost think about being with, because cheating is thought about as so bad. And it's great, cool that cheating is thought about as so bad now. Good, that hurt people, right? So don't cheat. Also, don't say that women are the only ones who get bored in monogamy, and don't use stuff that fluffs you up beyond where you could think straight, right? So that is my TED Talk there about why guys pretend that their drive actually doesn't go down in monogamy. If they didn't pretend that, then they would understand their wives and be able to bond with them so much more. Okay, yeah, of course we're both not in the honeymoon stage anymore. We're at a different stage of our relationship. That's cool. We could work on our sex life here. But yeah, neither of us is going to feel like we used to years ago. Of course not. That used to be a given, a taken for granted. Remember how people used to look in their 40s in movies in the 90s? They had gray hair. They had short gray hair. It's like it was not thought to be the era where you were supposed to be in the best shape of your life and like the hottest that you ever been, the way that it is now, which really is not fair to people, because aging happens. And when guys pretend that the wife is the only bottleneck to them having this, amazing porn-esque sex life. That's just not true. And I try to help people see what's real versus, just blow smoke up their ass. And this is what is real, is that men have to admit they too get bored. They too understand. They too would not run home from a board meeting or leave a patient on the table so that they could go home and get laid, right? I mean, it isn't just women that stop prioritizing sex super much after the early stage. Any man who's really working on his career, or you don't leave your kid's little league game to go get laid. You just don't. So yes, people's priority changes. Men have more testosterone, so they have a higher sex drive overall. But this idea that they can't possibly understand how things change after the honeymoon phase doesn't make any sense, except if they are fluffing themselves all day with video viewing and possibly, other biological ways.